Disclaimer. In this chapter, we are going to be discussing everything and anything from what our subscribers and listeners send in.
Or whatever we find on Reddit that piques our interest, and
give our 2 cents.
give our 2 cents and maybe put a little bit of, not lighthearted, but
comedic relief at the expense of other people. You hit your mic.
I don't think comedic relief is needed in true crime, however.
But that's what you're saying. You're saying lightheartedness, and that's literally what that is.
Well, I mean, if we're reading Am I the Asshole, then some of those aren't going to be true crime.
I don't know. This one, the one that we're starting out with today, is the title, and I haven't read the rest yet, so I don't even know if it's crime yet, but it says, "Am I the asshole for thinking my wife overreacted when an elderly lady touched our kid?" Could just be a normal touch. I'm going to read it, and we will give our opinion.
All right.
Hey Reddit, I need a tiebreaker vote here. Our family and friends are divided. My wife and I went shopping. I went to a different aisle to get some jerky. I heard my wife scream, "Help!" So I ran over and she was freaking out because an elderly...
I hit my mic.
You're killing me. You're really killing me. I heard my wife scream, "Help!" So I ran over and she was freaking out because an elderly woman hugged our son. You can tell the woman was harmless. The woman's son came along and profusely stating that she had dementia and she meant no harm, that she tends to view every child as her child. I said it was okay, and I myself apologized for my wife's overreaction. During this time, I was not paying attention, and my wife called 911 and called over security. It became a huge mess for all parties because my wife was not letting the issue go. You could also tell the son was extremely embarrassed, as was I. I was trying to relax my wife, but she was going on a complete meltdown rage, saying that his mother should be in a home if she cannot keep her hands to herself. What if she got our kid sick, tried to kidnap him, got combative, and hurt him? All of which I agree are possible outcomes, but I told her none of that happened, so let's just leave it. Security states since the wife called the police, we had to wait for them to show up so they can file a report as per their store policy. About 25 minutes later, police showed up and asked what happened, and my wife explained everything, and you can tell the police were like, "What the fuck is wrong with this woman?" I felt nothing but disappointment. Police took the statement and started laughing as they left, gave the son of the elderly mom a fist bump, and said sorry. My wife was upset I did not have her side. She was upset how I took the side of the son instead of her, so the elderly woman's son. I explained his mom was clearly sick. It was a harmless gesture, and I explained she was one that she was the one who acted unreasonably. I did acknowledge her concerns, but nothing bad happened. We could have just let it slide and went on with our day. She told me I failed as a husband, so we ran the story by our family and friends, and it's a 50-50 split. So my brother-in-law said this would be a funny story for Am I the Asshole? He frequents the sub. So Reddit, was I the asshole? Sorry, I forgot to add that our kid is 19 months old. So like 2 or 1.5.
Do you want my 2 cents?
That's the point of this.
Holy
Let's
fuck.
talk about it.
Number 1, Mom. If your fucking kid is 19 months old, he shouldn't be out of your sight. Help, help. There's an elderly dementia patient hugging my son.
Well,
so?
He wasn't out of her sight. I think she like grabbed him and like put him in a hug.
But my point is, her problem was, well, she could have done this and she could have kidnapped. No, she couldn't have because you're watching your kid, correct?
So it's funny because like this is technically in a way a crime because a report was filed, but this is some silly shit.
That's unbelievable. Totally. The sympathy I feel towards dementia and Alzheimer's patients, I mean, I It's one of my biggest fears, not being able to remember my life. But it's going to happen to most of us. So, on the one-off chances that you hug a 19-month-old baby, this woman probably lived her life, is probably a good person, didn't intend any harm, and for this mom to call the police to cause problems in her own marriage about it, that is so unreasonable.
And to say, like, you failed as a husband. Here's my thing.
So unreasonable.
Okay? It's like, some people are crazier. Some people are Karens and stuff like that. So, if, you know, she's standing there and she's letting her kid stand for a second, and this old lady, like, the son's not around right at first, and she just comes up and she grabs the kid, and you feel initial panic, and she brings the kid into, like, a tight hug, I could see being like, get your hands off my kid. What the fuck is happening?
But an old lady, I don't know that I would. I've been like, excuse me, ma'am. I don't think that I would aggressively or panicked.
I feel like there's like a couple of like far sides to this. But like, I could definitely, like, you have to remember, you don't know that she has dementia or anything right now. She could be a crackhead. She got meth on her hands. Like, you don't fucking know. And she just grabs your kid. It's weird. And there's so much like sex trafficking and stuff going on that my initial thing before like the son walked over would definitely be like I would probably grab my kid and be like, let go of my kid.
Absolutely.
But once the son came over and explained everything, it would be like, oh my God, okay, phew, sorry. Like I had a little bit of a heart attack there. Like, I guess that's a little bit Canadian too, though, for us to find out and then be like, oh, I'm sorry. I'm sorry for acting that way.
Yeah.
I'm sorry for taking my kid back into my own arms.
Yeah.
But I think that's what I would do. I'd be like, okay. But at the same time, no. I feel like if that was my wife, like losing her shit, I'd like to say that I'll always like have your back when we're at the face front, and then if I don't agree with you, I'll let you know behind the scenes. Mm-hmm. But something like that, where like if she was going crazy and calling the cops and stuff, I'd be like, listen here, psycho.
Yeah.
Chill it.
Yeah,
we're not calling the cops.
It's not just a disagreement.
You're ruining
something. You could potentially ruin this woman's.
Well, she's old. And she has dementia.
And you're going to call the cops on her?
But the
really?
Embarrassment that, like, you're causing the son and stuff is just, like, so totally not worth it. And I honestly think that this one's pretty obvious and pretty straightforward. The people siding on the woman's side are probably feeling obligated, like, in the family, are probably feeling obligated to, because she's obviously, like, a lunatic. So it's probably people on her side of the family that know that if they don't side with her, like, heads are going to roll.
Yeah.
She's going to call the police.
So in my opinion, no, sir, you are not the asshole in that situation.
Yeah. Initial concern, I understand. Past that, sounds like she went cray-cray.
Unreasonably.
Okay, moving on.
Did we even say let's talk about it?
Yes.
Okay.
Well, if we didn't, let's talk about it. Okay. This is the title for this one. Am I the asshole for turning in my friend for a crime we both did?
Yes.
So far, yes.
Let's talk about it.
About a year ago, a friend of mine, we're calling this person Jay, apparently, and I were having a sleepover. How old are these guys? Like most teens. Okay, they're teenagers. We were staying up all night and we got bored of playing games while trying not to wake up my parents. Jay and I decided we should go outside and do something fun. Our neighborhood is a pretty safe place to live, and it was about 2 a.m., so everyone was asleep. Jay and I had recently been really into doing art together, and I had taken up spray painting.
Graffiti.
Call it art. Yes, king. Some people are really good at that shit. Jay came up with the idea that we should walk to the abandoned house in the neighborhood and spray paint it. I was hesitant at first, but Jay assured me it was fine since no one was living there. Okay, before I continue, this is telling the story to make it feel like Jay's fault. Like, you know what I
Yeah.
mean? Jay told me to. Anyway, I grabbed my spray paint. I grabbed my spray paints, spray shield, and put on a coat. It's very specific. Then we started walking. It wasn't long before we came up to the house. All the shades were drawn and it was pretty dark, but Jay set up her phone? So the flashlight, I thought we were talking about boys. Are these girls?
Maybe a boy and a girl.
No, I don't feel like a girl could sleep over at a boy's. Maybe. Who knows? All the shades were drawn and it was pretty dark, but Jay set up her phone so the flashlight lit up the side wall. We started writing and drawing. I don't even remember what we wrote, but it was pretty big. At one point, I had gotten pretty tired and decided to take a break. I handed the shield to Jay and she kept painting while I took a break. Finally, we were done with our masterpiece and we both were pretty tired, so we packed up and went home. About a week after that night, I was busy doing homework when there was a knock at the door. My mom opened it and an officer was at the step. He looked a bit like the dad from Shark Tales, and it kind of intimidated me.
Okay. Oh, the Robert De Niro, the dad shark, the Godfather or whatever.
Oh my god, that's so silly. How old are these kids? Like the cartoon?
Do you know of another Shark Tale?
I don't know. We let him in and he asked to speak with me in private. My parents left the room and he sat across from me at the table. He started off by introducing himself and asked me if I knew why he was here. I shook my head. Police officer said he had a video of me from a week before with me who he had identified. And someone else vandalizing somebody's house. Like, that sentence is butchered. I stayed quiet, so he continued. He said he could only identify me because the other person who had been currently spray painting was wearing the shield. He then proceeded to make me a deal. If I told him who I had been with, he would let me go with just a small fine. I thought about this for a minute or two. The officer thought Jay did all the work, so if I gave them Jay's name and got away with it, I wouldn't technically be lying. After thinking for a bit, I decided to tell the officer that Jay was the person in the video with me. Okay, story's not over yet, but I've got to say they didn't have proof of you doing it. Like, why would you out the person who they had proof of doing it?
Yeah.
God. Jay ended up having to pay a hefty fine for trespassing and vandalism, while I barely paid half the amount. I've been feeling guilty about this for a while, so I decided to bring this to you guys. I will say I felt a big pressure to spray paint with Jay, but I feel that wasn't the best thing to do. Am I the asshole?
I don't know. Like, honestly, I don't know. Because...
Oh, okay. Wait. They were barely 14. So they were 14 years old and a couple days at the time.
I feel like you're breaking rules. In this case, breaking the law. We expect our kids to tell us when something goes wrong. So I'm going to say no. No, you're not the asshole. You fessed up. You probably changed the story to make yourself look more innocent than the other, but...
Probably scared at the time of police. So, like, I feel like it's unfair to, like, say, like, if this person is an asshole or not. I feel like it's more so, like, that's not what I would have done.
Yeah.
But I understand that, like, everybody would handle that situation differently, especially being a kid and not knowing what the fuck is going on and, like, panicking. But I have been put in a similar position-ish, and I will say that I would totally take the fall. Like be the fall guy. I happen
to know what situation you're referring to.
And sometimes it's worth it. Some, like, if your friends are crying and they're scared, you should probably just...
And as long as you're the underage one and...
Okay. Honestly, that one,
On the fence, but I'm leaning towards no, you're not the asshole, kiddo.
Kiddo.
You did the right thing.
I think you should have just told the truth and evened out the playing field.
Oh, I mean, there's
At
that too.
the least. And if your friend didn't turn around and say, they fucking spray painted it too, then they're also a fool. That's what I would do. Bitch. No, I'm joking.
And are they still friends?
There was a couple of edits to update that story. They have apologized to Jay, and have offered and started to pay Jay back for the fines.
Oh, nice.
I personally wouldn't do that because they earned those fines. But, like, maybe an apology, but you don't owe them financially. They were going to owe that regardless. You just lessen the amount you're paying. Like,
yeah. I guess.
Okay. Here's a little bit of a fun one. Am I the asshole for letting my son watch true crime content? My son, 14, is very interested in crime and the legal system. He says he wants to pursue a criminal justice degree when he goes to college. He watches a lot of true crime content, especially on YouTube. He often has it playing in the background when he's doing chores, so I have heard many of the videos. The content is intense, but it's very academic for the most part. Interesting. My ex doesn't let our son listen to or watch true crime at his house, which I assumed is because he and his wife have elementary age kids at the house, and of course they shouldn't be exposed to such things. Recently, my son and his dad had a fight because his dad refused to let him watch true crime even in his room with headphones on. My son said he watches it all the time at my house, and my ex called me and said not to let him anymore. I said no, that he can't make that decision for me in my home. My ex said that kind of content causes behavioral problems. I asked what kind of behavioral problems he has observed. He said our son has been defiant and argumentative. I said that's just being 14 and I'm not having many problems in those areas at my house, so maybe his parenting is the issue, not mine. That's a low dig. He said he's not going to argue with me and that I need to ban the true crime. I said I agree on not arguing, but the answer is no, I'm not going to ban it. He said I'm being a stubborn ass and not prioritizing what is best for our son. Is that true? I mean, my instant opinion here is that if the kid is getting defensive over not being able to watch it, if he's getting mad over not being able to watch it at his dad's, then maybe it is a problem.
Maybe he's addicted to it.
Maybe he's too fascinated by it. Like if he can't just stop
Holds
while
that post.
He's there.
That's not a cool burger, is it?
No. But, like, I mean, I feel like I'm looking for, like, more, I don't know, maybe, like, details, but there really isn't. But
Do you
again,
remember how old you were when you watched Carla?
Do you want me to answer that?
Yeah.
Like maybe like 10? Oh, is that the end of your question?
No, because I remember, 10, that is really young for that kind of content. But I was about 14 when I saw To Catch Killer.
Mm-hmm.
And I think those were...
If you were told that you weren't... My dog's streaming. If you were told, though, somewhere that you cannot watch that while here, would you have caused a fuss?
No, I didn't have a clue what I was watching, right? Like, it was like...
I think that's what the difference is here. And, you know, we see these, like, 14-year-old criminals and we wonder, like, how does this happen? If they're getting to the point of obsession...
Not just that, like...
What leads obsession?
What word did she use when describing the content on YouTube? Because I remember thinking to myself, that is not how I would describe the true crime community on YouTube.
Intense?
No.
Very academic?
That's it.
I know, I'm like, is he watching the news? Like, what do you mean?
And I just... And
well,
I'm not saying anything against the true crime community on YouTube, because some of them...
He wants to pursue criminal justice.
Right.
he goes
And
to
when was
college.
this? When did this post come out?
125 days ago.
I don't know, man. I would be so suspicious and so careful because of he wants to pursue criminal justice. Why? Does he have behavioral issues?
Stop thinking of Brian Kohlberger.
Has he wet the bed in his past? Is he cruel to animals?
Kate, you're going way beyond the scope here.
That's my point. Like,
Let's
I'm
not
not
talk
the
about
person
that.
to
Just kidding.
ask.
No,
I'm
no,
not
no,
the
no,
person
no.
to ask because there's so much more to
Okay.
obsession.
What was I obsessed with growing up? I was obsessed with
Books.
Stop it. What was I obsessed with growing up? I was obsessed with Vampire Diaries.
Yeah.
Why? The vampires were hot.
No, Damon was smoking.
Yeah. So was Stefan and Klaus, and like the list just kept going.
Elijah.
Why?
Yeah.
Why is so? Most kids are obsessed with something due to wanting to be with the character or whatever. Justin Bieber, Megan Fox for boys and stuff. So if this is what he's deciding to do, and he's at the point where he's frustrated that he cannot watch it at a certain place, that to me is a red flag. Does a red flag equal bad things? No, it's just a red flag. It's just the first one. If there's more red flags, start thinking about it. But
what cases is he watching coverage
probably
on?
all of them.
No, I know. But what I'm saying is, so think about what's big in the news.
Mm-hmm.
What are the details coming out? And what is the true crime community on YouTube focusing on? And I think you're onto something there, that he might be obsessing over the details and creating
something in his head.
Yeah.
That's a possibility. Another possibility is maybe he's watching that lawyer guy.
The lawyer, you know?
Yeah. Like maybe he's
that
just
is
obsessed.
A little bit academic. I cannot see it. No offense,
academic.
but I cannot see his mom thinking that True Crime Circus is academic in any way, shape, or
form. Though I feel like he probably watches like Explore with Us, and that.
And they don't do a lot of of the gory details. Like the YouTubers I'm thinking of are the ones that sit there and go through the gory details, and they say unaliving and essayed and stuff like that. But you still know what they're talking about, and you're still able to build a video or picture in your head about what they're explaining, right?
And again, I'll repeat. Recently, my son and his dad had a fight because his dad refused to let him watch true crime, even in his room with headphones on. Like, that tells me, like, it was, like, he's getting too heated. Just don't watch that. You don't have to watch anything. Go outside and play. Mm-hmm. What's going on there? The obsession, it's too much, it sounds like to me.
Unhealthy.
It seems a little unhealthy.
Yeah.
And that's our hot take.
That's our opinion. You asked, you got it.
Ooh. Okay, this one sounds fun. All right. Am I the asshole for trying to send my ex-husband to jail for a crime he didn't commit? Now,
No.
Unless you say this guy's an abusive asshole, yes, you are.
No, I disagree.
Oh my God.
Let's talk about it.
Me, 32 female, and my ex-husband, 36 male, were married for 8 years before a rough divorce last spring. My ex-husband, let's call him Joe, got full custody of 2 of our kids, 13 male and 10 male, and I got half custody of our first child, 14 female. I recently found out my daughter, I'm gonna call her Maya, has been sneaking out every night to go see her dad. It might seem like I'm abusive towards my kids, but I have a fairly well-paying job and get her everything she would want or need. Oh my God, that doesn't really even matter. Clearly not enough, it seems. I walked into her room at about 11 p.m. last night. She had a bag sitting on her bed and was putting on shoes. She explained the whole situation to me. She had been sneaking out to her dad's place for months now. Whenever she was staying with me, she would go out at 11:30 p.m. and come back at 9 a.m. I was worried Joe was making her go every night. She told me he wasn't, but that was not enough. I was fuming. It was bad enough that I could never see my sons anymore, but now my only daughter wants to leave me too. Joe had ruined my life enough as is, but this was too far. The next morning, I went to the local police and told them some explicit things I can't share here. It was along the lines of he had been sexually assaulting the daughter since she was 11. I had only just found out. None of it was true, obviously, but he couldn't prove that. I know it might seem extreme to report him to the police, but ever since I found out why we were getting a divorce, my world came crashing down. He cheated on me with my own flesh and blood, my father. I couldn't comprehend how he could do that to me. My father was double his age, 72. My dad, brother, and sister cut ties with me because love is love, and I should let them be happy. Honestly, I don't think I'm in the wrong, but my daughter is furious with me. I don't really know what to do anymore, so please tell me, am I the asshole?
Yes, you're the asshole.
So
that
first of
was
all,
unbelievable.
I don't even think, like, I don't even believe her when she says that, like, he fucked her dad. Like, that's probably not even true. This lady sounds crazy.
Not to mention, okay, so backing up, why don't you have custody of your kids?
Obviously, there's something there.
Obviously.
You're lucky that you have the girl half the time.
Yeah.
And obviously, it's still not a safe space for her if she's sneaking out at night.
The 14-year-old is sneaking out to be with her dad.
Why nighttime, too? Like, why is she trying to get out of your care at night? What do you do?
Yeah. Obviously nothing if she's able to leave at 11 and be gone till 9 and nobody's noticed for months. Do you know what I'm saying?
I think she did notice at first, but she didn't know she was sneaking off to the dad's. That she was fine with her sneaking out, and then she found out she was going to her dad's or something.
This is a terrible one. Yes, you're the fucking asshole.
You're the horrible person.
You should rot.
Ooh. Oof.
You don't lie about fucking molestation and stuff and
crazy.
Ruin somebody's fucking life.
It sounds like this chick is crazy, though. It really does. Like, she's a psycho.
Terrible. Am I the asshole?
All the comments.
Do you think?
Yes. You're the asshole. All right. Moving off of that one, because that was just...
That took a fucking dark turn.
It did. It really did.
Yeah, I was all excited for, sending my ex-husband to jail for running over a stop sign or some shit. And he didn't do it. I did it. I go and find a stop sign, run it over, and call the police on him. I witnessed him running over the stop sign. But no, she had to take it to a dark place. What a boot.
Yeah. Me no like it. Here's an interesting-ish one, I think. I didn't read it, but I'm going off of titles here. Am I the asshole for telling my daughter that her father's family member committed crimes against kids? Let's see.
I'm going to give my opinion at the start like I have been. No. I think it's important for, well, depending on how old the child is and what exposure, but I'm going to say no.
I think it is very important to be pretty honest about that stuff.
Transparent? Yep.
Mm-hmm. So let's read it. My daughter is preteen and Dad and I aren't together anymore. When we separated, one rule addendum?
Rule addendum. So
just one addendum is what it says.
One
is that
addendum.
Rule?
So no addendum. So one change. So one compromise, I guess.
Interesting was that I didn't want cousin around my kids ever because he was arrested and jailed for having intimate relations with 2 middle school girls while he was a teacher. Dad's family is very supportive of cousin, and the narrative is one of a man being victim of seduction. What the fuck? Disgusting. Dad has not adhered to my request that my daughter is kept away from cousin, which I think is a safety issue, but I work very often. He brings the kids to family events during my shifts. I would tell her to avoid cousin just in a very generic way until my daughter started puberty and is now in the age range of cousin's victims. So I sat her down, pulled up the news articles and what was available publicly on the court website, and had a serious conversation about pedophilia, minors being unable to consent, and adults victimizing children. I told her that I wanted her to keep her distance, not because mommy and cousin don't get along, but because cousin is dangerous. I told her exactly what he did, how to avoid him, and I also had to tell her that if she's ever put into an uncomfortable situation by him or any other adult, it's not her fault. It was a tough conversation, but one I think was necessary. The fallout has been intense. I've been told that it was inappropriate. I had no right, so on. Was I out of line? And there is an edit here, just to add. Since these are topics that are mentioned in several comments, there is no divorce decree in my area if one party refuses to sign the papers. There's a waiting period with terms before the divorce can go through, blah, 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 blah. No limitations on cousin's access to children and his family. I think she did the right thing.
100%. No question.
Sounds like she did a very thorough job. Like, I don't even think that I would have thought to, like, pull up, like, court documents or anything like that.
Mm-hmm.
But that would definitely help with making sure the kid took it as seriously as you were trying to convey it. Because I know a lot of teens would just be like, okay, mom, okay.
Yeah.
But, like, to bring, like, the facts to the table and be like, you need to... Like, this is the proof.
Away,
see this? This is, the police officers you see and that you want to make sure that you don't do anything bad in front of. Like, this is real shit kind of thing.
Yeah.
So I think she handled it really well. And I think that fallout and backlash and stuff like that, unfortunately, it's a mom's job to take that in defense of protecting their kids no matter what.
Mm-hmm.
You can literally lose everybody in your family if that's what it takes to make sure that your kid's safe and to do the right thing, then that's what you do. Mm-hmm. Because kids are number one priority. That's how she goes. It's the way she blows.
I agree. She 100% did the right thing there. That one wasn't very lighthearted either.
No. It's kind of interesting that we've been able to find, like, crime ones.
Like, what are you thinking? Because you're just sitting there looking at her like...
She's just having a good time. She's listening to the podcast live.
No, literally.
Playing her game. She's like, who paused the podcast?
Yeah, I'm like, turn it on.
This one could be fun. I'm not sure what it's about, but the title is, Am I the Asshole for Calling the Police on My Sister When She Was Just Trying to Help? And that was in quotes for the title. Just trying to help.
Gotcha.
I'm 22 female. My sister is 27 female. We had babies within 2 weeks of each other. Our sons are now 3 and 5 weeks old. Her son is breastfed and mine is not. Where are we going here? I needed to get surgery recently, and because my son's father isn't around, my sister and brother-in-law offered to babysit my son while I was in the hospital. 3 days total, free of charge. The fact that she has to mention that. When I came home today, I walked into my son on my sister's breast, which I actually didn't have an issue with to begin with, because it was probably easier to breastfeed him than make bottles. But she told me after she had thrown out all of the garbage I was feeding him, she was going to pump/donate milk to him. What the fuck?
No.
What the fuck?
No.
Shinji! That's crazy shit. I was kind of in shock, so I didn't really... Could you imagine my sister?
No.
Could you imagine what I do?
No. Like, same though. Like, no. Lord, love them.
Yeah.
No.
I was kind of in shock, so I didn't react straight away, but I went to the bathroom and called the police on her.
My sister is breastfeeding my son.
Just fucking walks away. Oh my god, call the police on her? Apparently what she did wasn't a crime, and the child is being fed.
Say, like, what?
So they couldn't even do anything about it.
Like, what exactly was she calling on? Like,
I mean, like, I feel like she threw my stuff away. That's kind of like stealing, isn't it?
I guess.
maybe. Like, I'd twist it any way I could, like, for sure.
Jeez.
My sister then blew up at me saying it was completely wrong of me to call the police on her when she was just trying to help. I told her she dumped 14 cans of formula without even consulting me.
That's like a gold mine. That's so much money.
That's like to dump the cans is that's got to be criminal. And currently had nothing to replace it with, just plans to.
Especially there was a formula shortage. So
no, I know. And it's expensive.
So expensive.
You gotta go to Costco these days.
Oh my goodness.
She now wants me to pay her for the babysitting she did. You want me to back pay you for the breast milk too? What the fuck are you talking about?
No doubt. Like, what about all the formula money you owe me?
I told her I can't even afford to replace the formula while I'm on maternity leave, so I won't be paying her for the babysitting. She ended up storming out, blocked me on everything. Our parents were able to replace 2 of the cans she threw out, but can't do much else. Well, that, in my opinion, is called enabling. That is them being like, oh, it's okay. That's okay, sweetie. We'll get you 2 cans to get you through right now. It's like, no, you should probably, like, go grab your daughter and spank her or something. I don't know. I'm not saying that I'm for spanking, but I'm just saying you do not pop your titty into somebody else's kid's mouth.
That's right.
My God.
Well, yeah.
That's absolutely not allowed. She ended up storming out and blocked me on everything. Our parents were able to replace 2 of the cans she threw out. Okay, wait, did I already read that?
Yeah.
They also think I was a dick for calling the police on her because getting a record could affect her government job. And therefore, my nephew. Am I the asshole? There's 3 edits. Let's see. Edit number 1. There's no way my sister would have replaced the formula. She is completely against it and has been vocal about her dislike for me using it. Edit 2. My sister did not have a supply already pumped, nor has she even used her pump yet. That's interesting. Weeks in. So not only did she not have anything to replace what she threw out, she had no idea how her body would respond to a pump. The only way she could have been feeding my son over the next few weeks would be to put him on the boob, which would take time away from me being with him. Why? The fact that they had to put that edit in because of whatever the comments were saying, who cares if she gave a supply? I don't want him drinking my sister's breast milk.
And not just that, like,
I have him on formula.
Yeah, that. And nothing else matters. But, I mean, a woman can only produce so much milk. You know what I mean? Like
14 cans of formula.
If you're not producing enough for your baby, then the doctor's going to advise you to put him on formula anyways. So you're taking away from your own son to breastfeed your sister's son, you fucking psycho.
You know what? Just to piss her off, I would have went into the bathroom and called 911 too. Like, 911, what's your emergency? Yeah, my sister's a psychopath and she's feeding my son. Can you do anything?
Like from what? Her boob.
I would just shit talk with like the 911 operator for a second. I'd be like, guess what? I just walked in on. I'm sorry. I needed to call somebody. Oh. And they'd be like, are you kidding me right now?
At the same time, in all seriousness, 911, no. She could have went in and probably made a report about the stolen formula.
I think she was probably panicking.
14 cans of formula, depending on what kind of cans, like was it powdered cans, whatever. You're probably looking at over $100.
No joke. Way over $100.
So this is what I'm saying. But
take her to small claims court at least.
Yeah.
Take her in front of Judge Judy. Like, let her get reamed out, man. That's not cool. That's not cool at all. I think we have time for like one more, probably. Okay. But that one, no.
No.
Wow.
Mm-hmm. Shocking.
This one's funny. Just the title. Am I the asshole? Because every time my husband tells me a fact, I search Google to make sure it's true.
Mine does too. Yeah, you're an asshole.
It's a fucking asshole move.
Yeah.
Like, put your phone down.
Yeah. Trust me.
Yeah. Am I not enough for you? Okay. Well, I'm not sure what this one's going to be about because it's very vague. But oh my gosh. Okay, never mind. I just read like one sentence and I feel like this is a perfect one to end this bonus episode on. Am I the asshole for how I named my daughters? My wife and I had an agreement when we were together that I would name the girls and she would name any boys we have. We've had 2 girls who are 12 and 10, and I decided to name them after 2 crime victims from the US. Back then, I was very fascinated with US crimes and was following that particular one for a while. I didn't really know what else to name my daughters. I thought they were both lovely names. They were French, like us, and I think it was a cool, unique tribute to the victims. Okay. My wife recently found out, not sure how, probably just by chance, and confronted me about it. I tried to deny it a little at first, but then admitted it, and she is not happy. She shouted at me, "Why would you do that?" I explained, and she said she thought it was disturbing and selfish somehow. I asked her why, and she deflected, asking, "What if our daughters get bullied due to it if their peers find out?" I replied saying that the crime was in another country years ago and it took her this long to find out, as well as that our daughters both have good social lives and have never had to deal with bullying whatsoever. She then asked me out of the blue, do I fetishize what happened? And I just left the room after that. Since that little tiff, she's been a bit snippy around me and has probably told her parents. Did I do anything wrong? I think I'd have the same reaction as her. Like, I'd be like, why the fuck would you do that?
I don't know that I would have an issue with it, depending on like how far removed the crime was. Like
10 years later, the husband, for whatever reason, was obsessed with Delphi. And 10 years later, you find out that he was obsessed with this case that you don't know about, and your daughters are named Abby and Libby. You don't find that weird? That's fucking creepy.
I mean, I'm sorry, but I would name my dogs Abby and Libby out of respect, you know?
That fucking no, right? Okay. I had to look over at my wife like, is she crazy?
Is that not a good thing? I don't know that I would name my kids after
mate.
Murder victims, but I would. I don't
no,
know.
It's not like the way I'm looking at it is it's not a fucking it's not a fictional TV show for you to, you're not naming your dog Buffy like after Buffy the Vampire Slayer. Like you're not going to be like, "Hey Abby, come here." No, hell no, that's creepy. There's a couple edits here. This is going to be a good segment. This is good. Like this, what you just said there, fully entertaining. Very good.
I don't know. Maybe I wouldn't. Maybe I would, but I don't have any kind of visceral reaction to it. Like it doesn't strike me as a big deal.
You know? Whereas I'm sitting here like, what the fuck?
Yeah, you guys are both kind of shocked where I'm like, meh, what's the big deal?
That is fucked. Like I would be like, my daughters? You nicknamed my daughter after the Loch Ness Monster. I'd go Bella on his ass.
Well, that's different. That is different.
No, I wasn't saying he was naming. I was saying I would act like Bella in this scenario. But there is more to read here. Edit to clarify some things. When my wife was first pregnant, I had those names in my head a little bit, but I was still on the fence, so I decided to ask my wife what she thought of the name Haley, and she really liked it, especially for the uniqueness here in France. So I went with it. If she had given another opinion, I would have chosen another name. When she was pregnant with my second daughter, I had a lot of doubt around naming her after Michaela. So whatever case this is.
Haley and Michaela?
Yeah.
The Cheshire murders?
Is that their names?
Haley and Michaela.
That is fucked. What do you think now? You think it's weird?
Not really.
What the fuck? Okay,
Like,
no, all right.
was he obsessed with the girls? Like, is he sick, or is it just really pretty common names?
I asked a lot of my friends and family about their opinion on that name, and none noticed the connection. I asked and explained to a friend at work my name choice and reasoning, and she said it was a lovely thing to do.
I don't know that I'd call it a lovely thing to do, but saying that you're naming somebody for murder victims, is that true, or do you just love the name? Haley and Michaela are really pretty names.
But he's admitting that those are the names that came to his head due to the true crime thing. He named them that because
Okay, fine,
of
but
that.
is he naming for the actual people, or is he naming for the names?
I could assume that he couldn't come up with names on his own, and he probably went with it, but still, I think it's creepy. I'm going to finish this. My motivation for their names was not sexual or malicious at all. I think it was a lovely tribute to those two sweet, gorgeous girls, and I think they would be very happy and honored with my decision. Okay, well, first of all, sir, you don't know them, and you don't know how they would feel, so that's just a weird thing to say, in my opinion. However, I can understand why people, including my wife, would be incredibly angry at this choice. I'd say it is a bit selfish, but my girls and my family have never faced any abuse or anything from it, and they both love their names. The replies I've gotten on here have been really shocking, with people making horrific accusations against me and sending just awful replies and messages that have really upset me. I do hope to users who have done that you reflect and mature and don't judge and vilify a man's entire character based on a poor decision and a single Reddit post. Okay, but you put it under "Am I the asshole?" So we're answering you. You're in my opinion,
And
you're
really,
the
technically,
asshole.
he's admitting he made a poor choice.
So in that scenario, yes, you're the asshole. I'm not saying you're a secret serial killer who got a weird kick out of tricking your wife into naming two girls after victims. I'm just saying it's a pretty weird thing to do. To me, it's weird.
Yeah.
Update, my wife and I have largely reconciled from this issue. It did cause some friction between us. We attended a couples therapy and she's forgiven me. She knows I had no disgusting or perverted motive behind this. We are currently expecting a child this year. Not really a choice I would make, but you know what? That means that they fully, just so at the end of these, it'll say if they're the asshole or not the asshole based on everything.
Good comment.
This person was declared an asshole on here.
Wow.
Oh yeah, look, it says this comment says you're the asshole, obviously. This was one of the most sickening crimes ever committed. Wife and 11-year-old daughter brutally raped and burned alive along with her other 17-year-old daughter. If my husband had done this to me, the whole situation makes me physically ill. I could never look at him again. 100% divorce worthy. It was a monstrous decision to connect your children to these victims. I hope they never find out what you did. Somebody else said, this is the craziest story I've ever read on this sub. It's beyond fucked up, and it's likely she's developing a fear you're gonna fucking murder her and your daughters. Oh my god. I mean, 2 daughters, wife. Like, I get everybody's reaction. It's a little weird. It's a little
weird, but like I said, to me, they're very pretty names, and I don't get that gut reaction like y'all did.
No, I agree with all the comments. Well, no, maybe not all of them. Some of them are a little aggressive. But most of the people are saying, I fucking love true crime, and what the hell's wrong with you? And I agree with that. But you know what? Perfect that we have 2 different opinions on this, because you're the only one. No, joking. Great place. I don't know. Well, I think this was fun. I can't wait to
Yeah.
continue doing these. It's
Absolutely.
a really great way to end things off. So,
hopefully next time I won't be as tired.
yeah, she was a little tired, a little dead off her feet. Ooh, is that a bad joke for a true crime podcast?
That is so offensive.
Oh, am I the asshole? All right. Thanks for listening.
So thanks for joining us. Thanks for moving over onto Patreon. We appreciate your support. We're
So much
saving up for new equipment. So
make things better for you guys.
Every
Easier for
single
us.
Donation helps.
And we're so grateful. Thank you so much
grateful.
for being here.
Don't
And
forget-
please send your stories in. We want you to
Yeah.
be a part of this.
Yep. Written stories or audio file if you want to do your own episode about podcast. Bree is a wizard at editing. We'll make you sound good and we'll add our 2 cents at the end. It'll be great.
If you enjoyed this episode.
Let's not.
No, not at all.
No.
Oh, okay.
Just say fuck it. We're done.
So for the bonus ones, we're freewheeling it. But we would love it if you left us a fucking review.
Yeah,
right?
for sure. And
Please-
share it.
Please leave us a review and share.
Goodbye.
I'm Bree.
Really? I'm sure. They know. They paid to see us here.
Here. Hear us here.
This is the end, right?
Bye. This is the end that never ends.
This is the song
And it goes
that
on and
never
on.
ends. It goes on and on, my friend.
Okay.
Some people started singing it, not knowing what it was, and they'll continue singing it forever just because.
Bye.
It's a song that never